Ganesh, shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In last class, we discussed about the burden tube pressure. Last class, we discussed about burden tube pressure gauge and for measurement of pressure for vehicle tires and all those things. Next, we measured the measurement of negative pressure, that's the vacuum pressure, by using a McLeod gauge, and the measurement of low pressure, that's in terms of microns, by using Pirani gauge. Next, measurement of high pressure ranging from 100 kg per millimeter square to 1 lakh kg per millimeter square by using a Bridgman gauge. So this completes the pressure measurement. Next, we discuss about the resistance thermometer. We discussed about the type of resistance thermometer. This is the resistance thermometer. One is made from silver solid core, and other one is mica. Both are core and mica are covered with sensitive copper winding, and copper winding is covered with the ceramic insulator, and the temperature can be measured from the leads provided in the back side of the resistance thermometer. So this is the first one is used for measurement of high pressure, which ranges from 150 degrees centigrade to 1200 degrees centigrade, and the mica resistance thermometer used for measurement of low pressure ranges from 1 to 500 degrees centigrade. Next, come to the point. Last class we discussed about the thermocouples. The thermocouple means there will be two types of metals are present, and there will be two zones. One is hot zone, other one is cold zone. Usually hot zone will be the burning of the candle, or the inside the furnace, or inside the oven. This joint usually placed inside the oven or furnace. This joint usually the cold junction, which is placed inside the hole which contains the ice cubes. That is nothing but minus 6 degrees centigrade. That is, this is the cold zone and this is the hot zone. They remember the definition of the thermocouple is the difference between the metal. See, this is the copper alloy, that is constant, and metal P is the silver alloy, and the difference in the temperature, hot junction and the cold junction, and EMF is generated in the circuit that can be measured by using ordinary galvanometer or millivoltmeter. So this is the thermocouple. So thermocouple used for measurement of temperature. The definition on principle of operation of the thermocouple. See, all of you observe here, this is commercially available thermocouple, which is used in measurement of steam in case of boiler, measurement of temperature in furnace, or measurement of temperature in oven. So this is the commercially available thermocouple. Next, come to the point. There will be two laws are governed by thermocouples. That is nothing but law of intermediate metal and the law of intermediate temperature. That is, the net EMF produced in the thermocouple circuit will not change if you insert the third metal in the circuit, or if you insert the third temperature source in the circuit. There is no change in the net EMF produced in the thermocouple circuit. That is the law of intermediate metal. That is nothing but if you introduce the third metal in the circuit, the net EMF produced in the circuit remains the same. Next, if you use law of intermediate temperature, suppose if you introduce the third junction, the temperature of the third junction is different from J1 and J2. Then the net EMF produced in the circuit remains the same. That is the law of intermediate metal and the law of intermediate temperature. Please, all of you write down the question. Please, all of you write down the question. What is thermocouple? What is thermocouple? Put a question mark. Continue the question. Put a question mark. Continue the question. Explain briefly. Explain briefly. Explain briefly the laws of thermocouple. Laws of thermocouple. First, you write the law of intermediate metal and law of intermediate temperature. See, if you say the law of intermediate metal means if you introduce third metal in the circuit, there is no change in the net EMF produced by the thermocouple circuit. Suppose the law of intermediate temperature. Suppose if you insert one more junction which is at the different temperature of J1 and J2, then the net EMF produced in the circuit remains same or will not change. That is the law of intermediate temperature. The explanation for these two laws is there. You can go through the explanation and write down this. Next, come to the point, the pyrometry. The pyros in the Greek word, pyro means fire, the measurement of fire. Say almost all the foundries, they are using the optical pyrometer. All of you seen the Sony webcam or Sony Handycam. All of you seen the Sony Handycam. This pyrometry means the measurement of fire. Pyro means fire, metry means measurement. In Greek words, pyrometry means measurement of fire. So this pyrometry used for measurement of fire. That is in case of foundry. That's in the melting temperature of the metal inside the furnace. Inside the furnace. Then inside the furnace. Say when, for example, consider cast iron. The melting point of the cast iron is 1350 degrees centigrade. 1350 degrees centigrade. Say away from the furnace, maybe 5 meter or 10 meter, using optical pyrometer. Say in pyrometry, they use two types of pyrometers. One is optical pyrometer, other one is total radiation pyrometer. One is optical pyrometer, other one is total radiation pyrometer. So in your syllabus, you have only one, that is optical pyrometer. Here you have the optical system, lens and light source. Lens and light source are present here. For that reason, it is called as optical pyrometer. Now, the principle of operation of optical pyrometer. It is just looks like a Sony Handycam. All of you seen the Sony Handycam for recording of videos. The same type of size, the optical pyrometer. First, what all the things present here? Before that, this is the temperature source. Temperature source means the molten metal inside the furnace. Inside the furnace at a distance of 10 meter or 20 meter. So there is no restriction of the distance between the source and the camera. There is no restriction between the source and the camera. Now, just view the molten metal, that is the temperature source in the furnace, through the optical pyrometer. All of you observe here. This is the observer and this is the eyepiece and red filter and the light source, lamp. So this is very, very important. The light source, the lamp, you can see, observe here, you can see the lamp. Inside the lamp, there will be a tungsten filament. This is very, very important. The tungsten filament is present inside the lamp. And here you have the absorption filter and this is the objective lens. And here the supply of electric current through the battery
and here you have the milliammeter. By adjusting the rheostat, you can control the supply of electric current to the lamp. Electric current to the lamp. First, come to the point. Observe the liquid metal in the furnace at a distance of 10 meters or 20 meters at a height of 5-meter height. You can observe through the optical pyrometer the liquid metal inside the furnace. Due to heat radiation, kinetic molecular energy, heat radiation coming from the liquid metal passes through the objective lens and passes through the absorption filter and passes through the lens and observe in the eyepiece and observe in the eyepiece. In this measurement of temperature, measurement of liquid temperature in the furnace, that can be measured through the milliammeter. This is the experiment. But nowadays, the optical pyrometer is available with the digital readout in the backside of the optical pyrometer, where you have the digital indicator which indicates the temperature in degree centigrade. In degree centigrade. If you use the milliammeter in the measurement of temperature of the liquid metal in the furnace, three condition arises. Three condition arises. All of you observe here. You can measure the temperature of the liquid metal in the furnace through the milliammeter by adjusting the flow of electric current to the lamp. In this measurement of temperature, three condition arises. First one, filament is too hot. The filament is too hot. Say the tungsten filament used in the lamp, the melting temperature of the tungsten filament is 4000 degrees centigrade. Now you are measuring the liquid metal temperature, that is cast iron, that's 1350 degrees centigrade. And the filament temperature is more than the source temperature. You have the condition filament is too hot. You observe the image like this. All of you observe here. This is the tungsten filament. You observe the image like this. Then adjust the flow of electric current to the lamp. Then you observe the image like this. Then the condition is filament is too cold. That is, the temperature of the source is more than the temperature of the filament. So then you can observe this type of image in the optical pyrometer. Then again adjust the flow of electric current to the lamp. Then the image diminishes. The image of the filament diminishes. This is exact temperature of the source. Exact temperature of the source, that is liquid metal in the furnace. Liquid metal in the furnace, that is 1350 degrees centigrade. This is the principle of operation of the optical pyrometer. All of you, please write down the question. Almost all the question paper, you have a question on pyrometry. Please write down the question. What is pyrometry? What is pyrometry? What is pyrometry? Put a question mark. Continue the question. Explain briefly. Explain briefly with neat sketch. Explain briefly with neat sketch the optical pyrometer. Optical pyrometer. Put a question mark. Optical pyrometer. Put a question mark. List the advantages. List the advantages and limitations. List the advantages and limitations. All of you understand?
That is the principle of operation of the optical pyrometer. When you observe the temperature source, that is the liquid metal in the furnace, through a distance of 5 or 10 meters and the height of 5 meters, if you view the liquid metal in the furnace from the optical pyrometer, three conditions arises. First one is filament is too hot. That is nothing but the tungsten filament temperature is more than the source temperature. Then adjust the flow of electric current to the lamp, and you get the second image. Filament is too hot, too cold. That is the source temperature is less than, source temperature is more than the temperature of the lamp. So for that reason, you have the image like this. Again, you adjust the flow of electric current to the lamp, and the image diminishes like this. Then the filament and the source are at same temperature or at same temperature. That is nothing but the temperature of the liquid metal is 1350 degrees centigrade. That is the melting point of the cast iron that is present inside the furnace. So the same optical parameter is also used in rolling industries, where they roll the TMT bars and other shafts. There also you can use the optical pyrometer. This is the explanation for optical pyrometer. Next, come to the point, the measurement of strain. The measurement of strain. How do you define the strain? That is the, for example, consider axial strain. The ratio of change in dimension to the original dimension. Ratio of change in dimension to the original dimension. In this case, epsilon A axial strain, that is the ratio of change in the length of the specimen to the initial length. So this is L2 is the elongated length, L1 is the initial length divided by initial length. That is L2 minus L1 divided by L1. You can calculate epsilon A, that is axial strain. L1 is the initial length, that is the gauge length. L2 is the final strain length, that is L2. The ratio of change in length to the initial length, that give you the strain. So here the length is in millimeter. Again, the length is in millimeter. Get cancelled. For that reason, strain doesn't have any units. Only the unit. That is. Let's come to the point. Say all of you write down the question. All of you write down the question. Derive an expression. Derive an expression for metallic, electrical resistance strain gauge. Metallic, electrical resistance strain gauge. Put a question mark. Continue the question. List the applications. List the applications and limitations. Say the measurement of axial strain, measurement of bending strain, measurement of torsional strain. Nowadays, they are using electrical resistance strain gauge. This is made from the copper alloy, or sometimes which is made from silver alloy. Remember, the electrical resistance strain gauge is made from copper alloy or silver alloy. All of you observe here. This is the strain gauge used in. This is the strain gauge used in
800 car in the fuel tank, that is in petrol tank. Say the function of the petrol tank is to store the petrol, and the dashboard you have the fuel gauge which gives you the fuel present in the tank, usually 1/4, quarter, half, 3/4 and full. If you fix the strain gauges at various levels inside the fuel tank, then there will be when you fill the tank with the petrol which exerts the force on the strain gauge. Due to that, there will be change in the electrical resistance. All of you observe here. This is the electrical resistance strain gauge used in Maruti 800 car for indication of the fuel in the dashboard. Fuel indicator in the dashboard which indicates the position of the fuel. That's the 1/4, half, 3/4 and full. See, in the center you have the grid like this. All of you observe here, wire grid. That's here. You have the wire grid and you have a 2 leads. It is connected to the copper wire. This is made from silver or some special alloy. The grid, the shape of the grid, all of you observe here. It looks like a spring or made. You have to make the grid like this by using copper alloy or silver alloy and connect the lead to the electrical copper terminal. On the top and bottom you have a phenolic resin paper. All of you observe here, phenolic resin paper. This paper has the property moisture proof. If you use this strain gauge in extreme cold condition, if there will be very high humidity, the moisture content in the environment will not affect the paper. This is the phenolic resin paper which is placed above and below the wire grid. All of you observe here. This is the paper and this is the bottom paper. You have to assemble. In the bottom you have the completely assembled strain gauge, electrical resistance strain gauge. This is the assembly of electrical resistance strain gauge. Say, this is also called as electrical resistance strain gauge. Here, which works on the principle resistance R equal to rho L by A. Remember, which works on the principle that is the R equal to rho L by A. Rho is the resistivity of the material used for the grid, that is in ohm centimeters. Resistivity, rho is the resistivity of the metal used for making of the grid, that is in ohm centimeter. L is the length of the conductor or the length of the grid, that is in centimeters. And area is cross section of the conductor. Area of the cross section of the conductor in centimeter square. If the cross section of the conductor is circular, then the area of the cross section of the conductor is pi by 4. Diameter of the conductor is pi by 4. And if the section of the conductor is square and this the dimension, d is the length of the side, then all of you observe here, that is resistivity. Rho is resistivity, length of the conductor. A is the area of cross section of the conductor, and R is the resistance in ohms. R is the resistance in ohms. Next, come to the point. Say, this resistance strain gauge works on the principle that is R equal to rho L by A. Then, on differentiation of this equation, R equal to rho L by A, you will get the answer on differentiation. dr by R equal to d rho by rho plus dl by L minus 2 dd by d. Then, see, all of you know that the area of cross section is circular and dimension d is pi by 4. Suppose if it is a square cross section and each side dimension is d, that is, you remember, pi by 4 circular cross section, d equal to pi by 4. Then on defining the ratio of change in length to the original length, that is known as axial strain. That is, all of you observe here, the ratio of change in length to the original length, that is axial strain. Next, the change in initial diameter to the final diameter, this is a lateral strain, epsilon L, epsilon A, and ratio of these two, ratio of axial strain to the lateral strain, ratio of axial strain to the lateral strain, that is known as Poisson's ratio. Remember, this is very, very important. All the metallic strain gauge, Poisson's ratio is very, very important. That is represented by mu. Next, come to the point. That is, if you substitute the equation dr by R by dl by L, that is change in resistance to the change in length of the conductor, you can define by using 1 plus 2 mu by d rho by rho divided by dl by L equal to gauge factor. So this is the equation used for gauge factor, that is the change in resistance to the change in length of the conductor is called gauge factor. On simplification, say change in resistance dr by R equal to gauge factor multiplied by epsilon A, that is axial strain. The term, the change of resistance to the change of length is called gauge factor, that is also called as axial sensitivity. You can write the gauge factor equation GF equal to 1 plus 2 mu. Mu is the Poisson's ratio. 1 plus 2 mu. The value of Poisson's ratio for all the metal is 0.3. All the metal, remember in your lifetime, the Poisson's ratio of all the metal is 0.3. Then substitute 0.3 in this equation, gauge factor equation. 1 plus 2 mu equal to 1 plus 2 into 0.3 equal to 1.6. This is a gauge factor of metallic electrical resistance strain gauge. And please, all of you, write down the question. Derive an expression for gauge factor. Derive an expression for gauge factor of a electrical resistance strain gauge. Mark it very, very important. Almost all the question paper, you have a question on derive an expression for gauge factor. Almost all the question paper, you have a question. For this question, first write this diagram. That's the assembling of resistance strain gauge. Then this electrical resistance works on principle R equal to rho L by A. And on differentiation of this equation, you will get R by R and 1 plus 2 mu. That is, substitute the value
mu is the resistance to the length axial strain. That is the axial strain gauge factor. Substitute the value of the Poisson's ratio mu equal to 0.3 in this equation. You will get 1.6. Gauge factor for almost all the metal is 1.6. Gauge factor for almost all the gauges is 1.6. Ganesh, I made an unmute to all, and you have test on Saturday, no?
Yes, sir.
I will upload the question paper at 9:10 or 9:15. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All the best. Be prepared and write it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now I stop this stage.